Hey, thanks for supporting our channel by watching and listening.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
Theme song is gonna play or not. I don't want to have it playing in the background, and I don't even know. So let's check and see if the Trench Talk theme is gonna play this week. Ah, there it is. You tuned into the Farron Dozier Show on mbradio.us, Trench Talk Edition, and Live Tour Sports. Catch me here Wednesdays at 4 p.m. Pacific Time, only on mbradio.us. How'd I do? Was that a good take? That might work. All right, good evening. Welcome to the Farron Dozier Show on KCAA Radio, 106.5 FM, 1050 AM. Also streaming from the KCAA Radio.com website and mbradio.us. We gotta bless the show before we get started. Let's go. When I was in my mother's womb, I had a calling on my life to do something in the glory of God and marry it like a wife. Commit myself to his word and never be led astray. And when it's all over, when he comes, I'll be glad to see that day in the morning time. Hey, what's up, man? How you doing?
I'm blessed, my brother. How you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Hey, did you see the game last night?
Oh, that was a good game.
But did you see the shot?
I lost money from that shot.
Oh, man, that shot was cold,
I
man.
hated it, but it was good. Damn. What's in those jeans?
You really want to know?
I do.
Exhaustion, muscle spasms, asthmatic issues, unexpected sickle cell trait crises.
Damn. Are you serious? When I was young, I found out I had sickle cell trait. My mom's told me, but I ain't have no knowledge of it. But when I got older, I had a child, and the doctor told me my daughter has sickle cell trait. Do you know the facts that both parents have sickle cell trait? There's a 50% chance the child may have the trait, and 25% chance the child may have the disease.
Hey, that's what's the count. Do you know that 2.5 million people in the United States have sickle cell trait, 300 million people globally? I didn't find out I had sickle cell trait until I was in the Army, 10 years. Next thing you know, I had a sickle cell trait exertion site.
Sickle cell? I thought that was a black gene or something.
Nah, man, the black community is number 2. 1 out of 36,000 babies are being born with sickle cell disease. You could be Caucasian, Mediterranean, European. You gotta know your bloodline, man. There is an inherited gene in our community that has been forgotten. The name is sickle cell trait. WDCONSCT, also known as What's the Count, is out to bring awareness, education, and prevention to people all over the globe. Want more information? Call us now at 323-215-5384 or visit www.wdconsct.org. Do you remember studying sickle cell in biology class? What's the Count on sickle cell trait prevention is here to bring you awareness, education, and prevention conversations around the risk factors of this inherited gene. Visit wdconsct.org.
It's the guts and it's the glory. 100 stripes, 100 stories. It's the Pledge of Allegiance on the 4th of July. It's them handwritten letters from home. It's them sleepless nights alone. It's his newborn baby he left with his wife. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, lay down, here's a line. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, for these stars and stripes, hey. From the fields of Indiana to the swamps of Louisiana to the golden coast of California, Uncle Sam's the only family he's got. His purple heartbeat won't stop, and And his 18th birthday was the day he was born. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, lay down, hear the light. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, for these stars and stripes. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, stand on the front line. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, pay the ultimate price. He was the man of the house when he was born. His family is proud but torn. But if you knew him, you would understand. He was raised on how to be brave, just to see the flag still wave. And then he came home with only one hand. 'Cause Mr. Red, White, and Blue, lay down, hear the light. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, for these stars and stripes. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, stand on these front lines. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, he'll pay the ultimate price. Lay down his life. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, for these stars and stripes. March in line, march in line. Hey. Hey.
Goodness, welcome to the Farron Dozier Show on the Military Broadcast Radio Network. That's right, that's MBR Radio. Oh man, Mr. Red, White, and Blues. Shouts out to my veteran community, my brothers and sisters at arms, those of us who made it on the other side, and definitely those who paid the ultimate price with their life. You know, for those of us who did make it through our career, a lot of us still deal with what's next. Like, I didn't realize I gave my life to death at 19 years old. I didn't figure that out till after I was retired. And after I'm peeling those military layers off, I was like, wait a minute. Did I give my life to death? Like marriage? Yeah. So when you finally get a sense of what you giving your life to for this world, it was, I don't want to say it was easy, but it was easy to give my life to Christ. That's my comparison. If I could give my life to this flag over here, you know, for our country, when I came to Christ, I was like, why can't I give my life to you? You gave us this life, right? So we're gonna talk about that. I'm part of the show today. Shouts out to my sickle cell community. For me, you know, that identity of a basketball player as a young child, chasing that hoop dream, and then becoming a soldier, and that identity, and then becoming an advocate for sickle cell trait, another identity. But what that did for me, I found a whole nother community of people, right? I thought that my life was over after my uniform came to, and then my career came to an end when I had to take that camouflage off and my rank off. I made it mean my life was over. But it wasn't. God showed me that military career, that all the stuff that I've been through since birth was just the means to get in front of you today and share the messages that he's given me. And one of those in my activities of life is a sickle cell trait conversation. When I found this community, I didn't even realize that I was even connected to this community, right? Because it was like, I didn't find I had sickle cell trait till I was 29 years old. I have a cousin with sickle cell, Nigel, but that's about all I knew about sickle cell until my episode. And then here I find this community of people. So now instead of, you know, defending this country, I get to take on a whole nother community of people that I'm connected to. And if you know about sickle cell, there's a lot of things going on in our community right now. And some things, you know, it's not all bad, right? It's not all bad. However, it's the experience of it, right? the experience. And as I relate to my military community, we talk about losing soldiers. My community of sickle cell, they're warriors, they're soldiers. And one thing we all have in common is that we are going to pass away. We're all going to die, right? But some of those deaths they're difficult in that transition, right? We lose friends, we lose loved ones, we lose mentors, we lose advocate friends, people that we met in this community. And so we've taken a lot of losses in life. And some of our brothers and sisters in this community have died from sickle cell complications, and some are secondary complications. I lost a friend who, in our conversation, she didn't want to go to the hospital that night. She did not feel like dealing with the doctors, and so she stayed home as long as she could. And unfortunately, she lost her life. Right. So there's so many different dynamics of our community, right? But most recently, we lost a true staple in our community of sickle cell. It's a tough loss. She was, you didn't want to mess with her. You did not want to mess with her. She was about her community. She was about her business. So we have a guest today as we talk about this community around loss and grieving. It's Jasmine. Jasmine worked very close to Amy. How you doing, Jasmine? How are you tonight?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for taking time out today. Do me a favor and introduce yourself to the listeners, and we'll get started.
I am Jasmine Hightower. I am from Alabama, Dothan, Alabama to be. And also I have a bachelor's degree in psychology, a master's degree in social work, and the last, I say 10 years or so, I have been advocating for sickle cell warriors. I have helped write different bills and laws for Alabama, and also lobbying on Capitol Hill and things. And it was all because of Amy who got me started. So, which is ironic.
Yeah. What was that, initial relationship with Amy? Because she was rough. She didn't play by her community. So what was that initial relationship with her, with Amy?
For me, she took me in as a little sister soon as we met. And it was because I had started dating somebody in the community, and because of that, she was doing the cruise, so I wanted to go on the cruise, and we just started talking. She became my big sister. She was there for me. I was there for her. We had plans and stuff just in case one of us were to pass away, in a sense. And because of that, I knew what to do, in a sense, when she died, but it was still hard trying to process it, and things like that. So
yeah. And so you're not only connected to the sickle cell by you were dating someone. You don't have sickle cell trait or sickle cell anemia or anything. You're just a supporter.
I do. I also have sickle cell disease. I have sickle beta plus thalassemia.
Okay.
So I have that, and so for me, living in a small town, I didn't know a lot of people that had this disease. I was the only person in my family that had it. I maybe knew like 2 or 3 people. Well, actually 2.
Yeah.
And one of them was an adult, and the other one was a child that grew up with me. But other than that, I really didn't know a lot about the community or anything.
Yeah.
And then when I turned 13, I started to get so I have to be in the hospital. So I started learning more about it, me and my mom and my dad. Um, and
Wow.
we just went, I went from there. And luckily, whenever I got to undergrad to college, I found the sickle cell community on Facebook and social media and things. And that just opened my eyes and my world to something that I didn't even
Yeah.
know was
Thank you. Thank you for
possible.
sharing that. Ladies and gentlemen, my shows are 99% organic. So, you know, I don't think I've ever met you before. So we are meeting for the first time. And this is authentic. This is real life, you know. And so thank you for sharing that story about how you found this community and even, you know, just meeting Amy. Your signal is just a little slow. So I want to make sure I get you enough time to say this. So what do you want to say? You know, in this space of loss and grieving, mourning, the cruise, just what do you want to say to the community about this conversation?
The one thing that I know Amy would have wanted was for everybody to take care of themselves. Stand up for one another, be there for one another. Don't just break down and be rude and cruel to the ones that are suffering like you are. I know this was a big loss for our community. It was a big loss for her family as well as loved ones and people that knew her. But she would say, keep going and also get your story out there. She not only suffered from sickle cell, she suffered from miscarriages and things like that, dealing with fertility and things, and she was a advocate for that also. So she really wanted to make her voice known and out and involved. And if you can take anything from this, is to advocate for yourself and get other people involved in yourself and do stuff for around your city to get the word out, because we do need that.
Yeah, thank you so much for that. Again, it is so important, you know, for our community to still to find your voice, to have those opportunities to advocate, to share your story. We it's not embarrassing, it's not shame. This is an important conversation. We're all born for a reason, and part of your message is delivering that affliction, that condition, that those experiences. People need to hear that. They need it. They're looking for it. They want to learn. They want to know about it, right? And so it takes a little bit of confidence, takes a little bit of courage. You got confidence in other areas of life. Imagine having confidence in that speaking, in that sharing conversation, right? That's what we want to encourage and empower and help people find places and find the space to share those stories, right? Very important. What do you want to say about the cruise? Do you want to give out some information so people can find out, is it going to still go
Yes.
on? What's the plan? When is it?
So the cruise is this year from September 6th through the 13th. She has been doing this since 2015. That was the first cruise. And every year it has been a different year, different people have went, more people have gone. And this year we are going to Belize, we are going to Mexico, and we are going to Mahogany Bay, which is near Honduras and things like that. We are going to have a meet and greet. It'll be some things, some sweet treats that she set up that we are going to still give out and have and stuff. And also while we're there, we were going to have a day where we celebrated her by wearing yellow. We're going to get shirts and things. If you, the ship is leaving out of New Orleans, and we still have room available if you still want to come or anything like that. So Miss Carissa Stanford. She is literally helping me with everything. She is a sweetheart, and you can contact between her and me to get more information if you're interested.
Okay.
It's a lot of work. I don't know if we're going to do it every year, but we do plan on doing it every few years to just do something in her honor and keep it going. So her husband and her twins will be there, her mother-in-law. And so it's going to be a great time. And we want anybody that can go to come and fellowship and just enjoy.
Yeah, thank you. Are you on Instagram, Facebook? How you want? I'll make sure that in the post they'll be able to connect you if you're on Facebook, Instagram, and those type of social media platforms.
Yeah. Yes. So on Facebook, my name is Jasmine Hightower. So you can DM me and get your information. We do have a Facebook group for the cruise. It's called Cruising with Sickle Cell. So you can always go there. We always have up-to-date information on there. And then I have a Instagram, and I believe this is Jazz. But I will let you know for sure.
Yeah, we'll post it.
Always
that's okay.
Instagram
I'll put it in the
username.
comments. Yeah, that's okay. I'll put it in the comments for you. Thank you so much. Just thinking about this episode and I didn't know what you were going to share. I've talked to a couple of people about Amy, and it's. You never know when that loss is going to show up. You never know when that mourning is going to show up. You never know when that grieving is going to show up. And I just want people to know, when you look at grief, you gotta, not that you got to, but you want to break it down. There's a loss, there's mourning, and then there's grieving. And sometimes when you feel that mourning, you gotta go somewhere and sit down, play some music, think about, look at pictures. Like, don't hold that weight. You can let that weight out. And also with the grieving, if you got to go cry, if you got to go play some music, like whatever you got to do to get that out of your system, you can go and be with those feelings and emotions. And I promise you, at some point, they're gonna pass. It may take 10 minutes, it may take 20 minutes, but if you go and be with those feelings and emotions, think about what you need to think about. Talk to the person, ask for forgiveness, whatever you think you needed to say and you didn't say it. Say it so you can hear yourself say that and get that out of your system, right? And then the loss. For me, the biggest thing I discovered in my loss was my new identity of being a son without his father. Like, that's a whole nother person I get to discover, right? And so as we have connections with our friends and advocates, who am I now without this advocate in my life now, right? Who do I become now? Like now I'm grandpa, now I'm dad. And so, the loss, you gotta look and see what did you make that loss mean about you? And sometimes that context is disempowering, and it's not a good conversation that we have with ourselves. We don't talk to ourselves well. We don't talk nice to ourselves, right? But in these phases of grief, I look at them as those three categories, and you've got to be able to manage and be with each one of those, because they show up when they want to show up. Any last words you want to say, Jasmine, before I get out of here around that conversation?
I would also say that I know for me, it actually really took me a while to tell people that Amy was gone. I found out that morning officially, and the only reason why I did tell that afternoon and was because people were starting to know. So for me, I have really needed to sit in it and just pray, meditate. And since then, I think about the good times. I think about things she would say to me and laugh about things. I feel like she has given me the torch for this, in a sense. So also for me, I also know that this has brought up some issues from other people that I love that passed away from this illness too, that maybe I didn't really deal with it. So going to therapy is also on my treatment plan right now for myself, to go to therapy. So
Yes.
I encourage anybody to go and talk to a professional if you need to.
Yes.
If you need to take medicine, do that. Whatever you need to do to get back to yourself, just do that. It's a no judgment zone when it's
Yeah.
really about your life.
Right. Thank you. And I heard the degrees back there, so we definitely got to talk because we know how important psychology is for our community, right? So when we have these conversations, I know I would appreciate your input so we can make sure that I'm not a therapist or a psych. I don't want to be one, but definitely I can have those conversations, right? So maybe you can keep me on track, make sure I don't say nothing too crazy. But we know that mental health is like hand in hand with having sickle cell trait. Like that emotional state is very important, right? They go hand in hand, and
Yes.
sometimes it gets left out. That mental health gets left out because I like how you said this is a no judgment zone. No judgment. So I appreciate you for saying that. Thank you for taking time out today to hang out with us. Shouts out to Felice for connecting us, and I'll definitely look forward to having you come back because
Yes.
we need to go to some of that psychology, mental toughness, human being experience conversation so people can start to find their peace in their language, right? And then their character and their behavior. So thank you for today.
Thank you so much. And I would love to come back. So just let me know and I will definitely be on.
I got you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you
All right.
again.
No problem.
Bye bye.
All right. This is the Farron Dozier Show right here on the Military Broadcast Radio Network. We're going to play a PSA, come back, and get right into the second half of the episode. All right. Again, thanks to Felice for connecting me with the community, for allowing me to be one of the leaders here to even bring up the conversation around grief and loss. Like I've been in my own space with loss and grief for many years, losing loved ones and my soldiers, but the loss of my father has been the biggest one. And I've been able to go and the willingness to go and look at myself around loss and mourning and grieving. You got to be willing. The next conversation we'll be having about the word, you got to be willing as well about the word too, right? So we're going to go take this break, come right back. This is the Farron Dozier Show on the Military Broadcast Radio Network. Shout us out, what's the count? Zetovia salve, made from natural and organic ingredients, good for inflammation, poor circulation, hemorrhoids, yeast infection, lip sores, dry coughs, eye pain, minor cuts and bruises, and ready to purchase at botanicaherbalco.com. botanicaherbalco.com. botanicaherbalco.com.
Muchos de nosotros nos vemos afectados por la enfermedad de células falciformes a diario y un número creciente simplemente no nos damos cuenta. Los impactos de esta enfermedad afectan a todas las personas y especialmente a las personas de color y con antecedentes diversos. Estar en servicio conmigo y con los demás a medida que creamos una mayor conciencia sobre cómo identificar y dirigir el tratamiento de los rasgos de células falciformes y ayudar a las familias a saber cómo superar el trastorno de células falciformes. WDCONS.
Do you remember studying sickle cell in biology class? What's the Count on Sickle Cell Trait Prevention is here to bring you awareness, education, and prevention conversations around the risk factors of this inherited gene. Visit WDCONSCT.org.
Opinions expressed in this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
All right, welcome back to the Farron Dozier Show on the Military Broadcast Radio Network. All right, so this conversation came about, shouts out to Renata, who helped me put together that episode with all the men that you may have seen a couple weeks ago. We had a great conversation. It was hard to end that dialogue. I think we talked for like 2 hours that day. I think I was here for like 2 hours. I pushed it to the limit. Thank goodness there's no show after mine on Wednesday nights, right? So we were able to push that conversation to the limit. Great dialogue. So shouts out to all those gentlemen who were here. But that conversation sparked this conversation. So I'm just going to get right into it. My guy is here. You may have recognized him from the last episode or from the flyer. Arion is here. What's up, man? How you doing, man?
How's it going?
Oh man, everything's
Okay,
cool.
I'm sure everybody can.
How you be?
Man, just blessed, man. Just blessed, to be honest with you. I can't really explain any of things that's going on right now in my life, but it's like it's all God right now. It's like you can see God all over it. Because right now, if it was man, boy, I'd be in shambles. But it's not. So it's all God. It's all God.
Do me a favor and reintroduce yourself to the listeners here on the Military Broadcast Radio Network.
How's it going? Well, my name is Arion Rogers. I come from Chicago, Illinois, born and raised. I moved out here about 7 years ago. I'm now part of ministry. I have turned my life over to Christ. Um, Definitely, I have 100% reverence to my military, but most of all, I have reverence to God more than anything. So for every veteran, every military, every Marine, hoorah, I say thank you for your service, and I respect everything that you have done for me to be able to breathe the air that I breathe, to wear the clothes that I wear, to believe in what I believe in. And that there is without saying. You all did the groundwork. Certain ties just tell the story. But you all did the groundwork. So I support and love and respect every last one of you all.
Man,
And on that note, I'm just a part of we're gonna get into that, but it's a lot about God and this is amazing.
So let's go back in time a little bit. You know, what was going on in life before, you picked up your cross with Christ? Give us a little bit of background. What was going on? What led you to that moment to say, you know what, I gotta go find you for myself, man? What was, give us a little bit of that. Just a little bit.
Ooh, a little bit. You asked it for me.
Like the night before. What was going on the night before? Hours before.
Okay, so the night before, I was actually homeless in a hotel with my ex-girlfriend, Tanisha Johnson. God rest her soul, rest in peace. Um, we was pretty much not really getting along in a relationship, but we was looking out for one another. It was like, if anything, we're gonna do that. So we were friends. I have to admit, my unsaved self didn't treat her fairly enough. I think I could have done a whole lot better. And I'm sure all of her relatives and her children will agree.
Yeah.
But that was because I was suffering from social communication disorder, manic depression. I'm stressed out. I didn't understand anything about being a man as I know today. And that there is my confession to say that God changed my life literally right in front of the whole entire situation. And we decided that we was going to split up to go into two homeless shelters in Orange County.
Wow.
I went to Bridges. He went to another part of Bridges in Mercy House. When I got into the shelter, it was COVID. It was during COVID, big time. People were shutting down. A lot of the homeless was locking down all types of hotel rooms. It was just a big fiasco. We lived together in an extended stay prior to that. And when I say that my mind wasn't there, I was literally doped up off of Abilify, 10 milligrams a day.
Yeah.
And trying to curb the emotion because I had mad rage. Like I'll be easy irritated, easy irritable, easy angry. And I mean, it took me 30 seconds to go green. It was just like, that's it, he's gone. And I'm all over it. Yeah. And I went into the shelter. It was a really easy process. And the one thing about it is I saw this as a time to start over when I got accepted into the shelter by myself. And I said, you know what? I got to go on ahead and sign off on an application for a job like right now. Like I filled out the job before I filled out the intake because I was like, that's the first thing I needed. And I got saved. I went in and then I took my shower. I came out as this brother. There's a father and son duo. They were homeless from San Diego. His name is Daniel McBride. You might have seen him on YouTube. He's doing a lot of ministry right now, doing ministry work. His
Okay.
father's a pastor. Um, I didn't know at the time though they were just homeless like me in the shelter, and he just kept giving me this love, like familiarity, like encouraged me to let me know that I was safe here. And I was like, do I know these brothers? Because they were just like, oh. And I'm like, I don't know you like that. You know, where I come from, Chicago, when people do that, you got to be weary. So my head on the swivel. So I'm like, I was like, I'm just going to go on ahead and go in and, just, try to center myself. So I felt like I was in prison for the first time, but not really in jail. You know what I mean? Never been in jail, but it felt like I got a taste of it there. And the third day came around, they did the same thing. I'm like, man, they really are like cheering me on. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I'm not feeling this right now. And I'm like, I don't understand. So after I ate my little, shelter food, I called it the slop kitchen, but it was all good. I was grateful to have something.
Yeah.
And I just went over to the guy and I just said, hey man, I don't mean to be disrespectful for where I come from and where my daddy raised me. If you don't say what's up 3 times after you've been dapped up 3 times and you don't speak back, that's disrespect. So I came up to him and he says, yeah, well, brother, I appreciate that. Hey, you believe in Jesus. And that's when I was like, glitch. Nope, I don't want to do it. Nope, I'm walking away from that because I always believed that Jesus was religious and God was God.
Yeah.
So I was like, I wouldn't touch it. Anything talk about Jesus Christ, I don't want to touch it. And that goes back from 22 years at the time of me having to walk away from the faith based to mistreatment in these churches and these people who got their degrees on black and white, but don't got the Holy Spirit. And I was like, I'm not going. So I chose, I was like, nah, man, I don't believe in that. You know what I'm saying? I believe God and I have our own personal relationship. And I'm going back and forth with him with metaphysics, esoterics, Egyptian, going back and forth with all this jargon of my knowledge of my own understanding. And his son is sitting there smiling and laughing the whole time. He's like 18. He's grown now, like super grown, but he was 18 at the time. And he was just smiling and laughing the whole time. And I'm like, what's so, man, no, man, I'm good with this and blah, blah, blah. And then he put his hand on my shoulder after 2 hours of arguing with his father. He puts his hand on my shoulder so calmly and says, brother, the Bible's not religious. Yeah. I said, yeah, prove it. He said, it says right here in John 1:1. He opened it up a point. He said, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. And I had to think about it. All the esoteric information lined up real quick. Before you can have a word down on paper, you have to think about it first. And where do you get that thought from? Your spirit. Where you get your spirit from? God. I was like, all right, now you have my attention. The son had my attention.
Wow.
The son caught my attention. And he was like, and his daddy was like, he said, pray for me, brother. So I prayed for him. And that's when I'll tell you the events. But after that, the first unexplainable event showed me that God answered me when I agreed to walk with him. He told me at the end of that prayer, he said, the steps are now already ordered in the name of Jesus. All you got to do is walk them. You are now saved. I said, that's it? He says, yeah. He said, go start reading the book of John. Get to know him now. Get to know him. He only asked you for 3 things. He said, believe in him, accept him, and get to know him. That's it. And then you'll grow to love him. Yeah. Like any other person. And when I got that understanding, I didn't know, I could not read the Bible for the life of me. I'll be trying to read it. I had this Bible since, it's messed up now, but I had this Bible ever since like 2017, before I was still homeless with my ex at the time. And we met a person and he bought me this Bible. Wow. Because he thought I was just going to go to join the church. And I wasn't feeling in the churches like that. It just didn't seem right. But the Bible stayed with me. He said, now go read the book of John. Now, all the luggage I had being homeless, things got lost in the shelter or anything. This Bible just happened to be in my backpack. So I was like, I'm going to open this up. And I read the book of John, and then everything was explained like a story for the first time in my life. It didn't sound like Greek salad. It explained the story, the coming, the understanding of Jesus, knowing who Jesus is. And he opened up. And then when I was reading about him and how he walked the earth, I said, everybody got this messed up already, and I already figured it out. I was like, they're over here talking about detailed scriptures, semantics, this, that, and the other. Jesus was this, Jesus was that. I said, that has nothing to do with why the Bible was written.
No.
It has to do with his attitude the entire time. Did y'all understand that part about him?
His character, his behavior, all
That's
of that.
it.
And
that was it.
How he treated people and how we supposed to treat ourselves first.
Man, when I saw that, that's when my eyes were open. And a miracle happened, but it was the miracle of I went to work that following week and got fired. Okay. How they say blessings come out of the things that don't seem like it's going to be a blessing.
Exactly.
The boss pulls me back in the back room. I take my final check. He says, but I'm not going to fire you, though. He fired everybody else. He says, I'm not going to fire you, though. You're going to go around the corner to my neighboring office, our sister office around the corner.
Come on.
You're going to go over there and talk to set
Come
name.
on.
And he's going to hire you on the spot. And you're going to work over there. Now, you was making $13 here, $13 an hour here. You're making $14 an hour over there.
Come on. Come on.
How do you get fired, then hired at the same company that fired you? And within the same day that they fired you, I said, that was nothing but God.
Yeah.
That was the first miracle. And that made me understand that I was in his favor because I accepted his son. And that was the first miracle. Miracles been happening ever since then, even down to this day. My face shot through the roof because I saw myself radical. I was like, there's nothing you can do to me, devil. Nothing on this planet, in this world that you could do to me because Jesus got me every single time. I promise you. Even now, I have the faith on it. But
yeah, thank you.
I get fired up.
No, thank you for sharing. I appreciate you for going back in time. I want people to get a sense that we all have this turning point, right? We all have this, episode that happens, that happens to us. And for me, it was when my dad transitioned in 2019. I've been in church for from childhood to 21, and I left for 20 years. Came back in 2011, and dabbled around in it, but I still wasn't walking straight, just trying to figure it out. And then when my dad transitioned, it was like, okay, God, I gotta find you for myself. Because I was like you, like it's been so religious. It's like I keep hearing that it's a relationship, so I'm like, you know what? I need to figure out this relationship for myself. And here we are today, right? Having these conversations. And so I'm not saying I got it all figured out, but I do have what he's given me for my message for my life to study and to deliver those conversations. And so you came up with this. So what from the men's talk that we did a few weeks ago, what was that? Is what came to you that was like, you know what, let me reach out to this dude because I want to have a conversation about some more detail about the word. What was going on in your mind around that conversation?
I felt like that was the perfect get. God spoke. I just say God spoke to me, to be honest with you, because I noticed, right? I've been on this mission since God gave me revelation in 2023. And he told me, that he was going to use me to teach. He already spoke to me. He said, I won't be a preacher, so I'm not going to be off the pulpit like that.
Right.
But he said, I will have to embrace it eventually and teach. But he also told me I would be there to reach out to the young men and the youth between the ages of 14 and 25. And that was when he said, you would teach them about him, about God and understanding. And it's going to be through a realistic testimony. It's not going to be from a holier than thou perspective. Right. It's not going to be from a church grounding perspective because I wasn't born and raised in the church.
Right.
And then just now, I'm just now learning about my ministry and understand how God guided me to my church home, which is Family Center of Love, which is shouts out to my apostle Aton, my spiritual uncle, and Apostle Darlene, my spiritual auntie. And also my godfather and my godmother, Apostle Brent Bryant, who's also assistant to them as they are the heads, and my godmother, Apostle Nadia. So, because that's his wife. So it's like it's been a 4-man team, but it was called. All these are through things I couldn't control. So what made me reach out was I remember Auntie telling me a long time ago on Bible study when I had got on. My dad had just died in February 2020,
Mm.
and I wasn't really, my ministry that I was at. It was okay. They did things according to the word, and they prayed for me, but I just didn't feel the conviction and the love there. Like they didn't know my dad.
Something was missing. Something was missing.
Yeah, it felt empty. Yeah, but it wasn't. I know they meant well, but it's just like it didn't feel like it touched me enough to understand that they knew me and understood how attached to my dad I really was.
Yeah.
And when that happened, Auntie just said, when I was expressing that my dad popped out, she said something about on the spiritual side because she's prophetic, so she's from the prophetic world and back. And she just told me, she said something about the other side said pop out. And I was like, pop out? What do you mean? And I was like, I had to think about that. I said, okay. And then Apostle Brent followed her up on that same Bible study. Over there, they would let me talk. They would let me speak. They would let me get my thoughts out where I was being quenched at my ministry.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was just like, I didn't really feel comfortable with that. But I was like, I have much respect to the leadership because I was there to learn. Otherwise, I wouldn't know nothing about ministry at all.
Right.
So, I give respect to Life Change the Word for that, for most respectful. That's Renata's ministry now.
Yeah.
And but Pastor Brett said, you got a word on you because he heard what I spoke on. And he said, you got a word in you.
Mm.
He said, if you hold that to yourself, shame on you. He said, God gonna use you in a mighty way. So come on.
Wow.
And that made me feel the love there. Through chain of events, through situations I can't control, I ended up at the Family Center of Love. I visited there before, and I was going through my trials and tribulations because God said, it's not ready for you to be here yet. I'm just showing you right now what it is that you're about to walk into, but you're not ready there this year. You'll be there later.
Right.
And then, Lord and behold, that summer, I saw stuff getting tight at Life Changing Word, and it was like God was just squeezing me out of there.
Wow.
But it was because he was sending me to Family Center of Love because he knew that I would be used.
Mm.
And I was obedient. I listened to God before anybody else, before any preacher, before any pastor, any apostle. God is first in my life. So when God hollers at me and he tells me, now I'm about to use you, well, God, you got my attention because he's answered. He's hollered at me before I was saved, and I had to answer. So he's hollering at me now that I am saved, same response. I'm answering. And my decision was where I was. And that made me come out with the old concept of the men.
Mm-hmm.
Seeing when God revealed everything to me as far as understanding man was first.
Mm.
And then when he showed me throughout society as I'm living it and I'm going through my life, I had a father in my life. So that's the reason why a lot of ladies today can't grasp onto how I'm so direct, how I'm so strong, how I'm so present, how I'm so tanked out. But that's because I was, one, military raised. Two, I was, I was raised underneath my daddy. I didn't clean up my mother as a kid. I woke my daddy up at 6 a.m. in the morning, knocking on the door in my diaper, talking about where we going. And he's like, go back to bed. I'm like, I can't. I'm up. Can you make me some cereal? He's like, boy. He's like, go watch some cartoons. I'm like, okay. 5 minutes later, boom, boom, boom. Daddy, where you at? Where you going? I was always underneath my dad. And he wasn't my blood dad, which brings us to the topic of it. And he wasn't my blood dad. I didn't know my blood father until I was 35 years old. And I found out how that happened, but that's just trail of events. Of understanding that, family do family. Back then, when you're born out of wedlock, my mom was 16, my dad was grown, and then, got kind of a little sloppy there, a little messy. So he got kind of pushed out of my life, and I didn't know nothing about that. But Bayless S. Armstrong, God rest his soul, rest in peace. My brothers and my sister, we all know that's our dad.
Yeah.
Because when we watched him, I watched him for 45 years. Go to work, come home.
Wow.
Go to work, come home.
Wow.
Get the money up, do what he got to do, spend time with his kids. That's what we do. And the more my siblings came into the world, because I was the first, we were all knocking on that door at the same time. Hey, Daddy, where we going? What are you doing? Hey, no, me first. No, hey, me first. No, wait a minute. That's my dad. Oh, no, wait a minute. And that's the way we were,
Cool.
And I have to say my dad did a good job on all of us, the best that he could with what he knew how, because there ain't no rule book to parenting.
Yeah.
And when it came down to blended families and relationships, he taught me one thing. He said, "Ain't nobody a step in your family. This is your family.
Yeah.
My brothers are my brothers." And that shouts out to my brother Corey Armstrong, and shouts out to my brother Isaiah Armstrong, who's banging it right now. He's doing what he got to do, as the baby of the family. And there's 6 of us.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. I can relate. My mom, me and my sisters have three of us. We have different fathers, but in the moments as a child with the first stepfather, I thought he was mean. So I had that perception of him. And then my current stepfather, who was my pops, he's been with us since I was 11, and he treated us, me and my sister, like we was his children. And to this day, he still called me his son. And to be able to, like you say, have that connection with someone who steps in as your parent, right? That's a whole conversation that we need to have. But I want to ask you, before we get into the title of these conversations that we're going to be having in the near future, having your father, but then not meeting your biological father until that time and age. Is it true for you that child still yearns for that biological father inside of him to try to find out who he is? Did you still have that desire and that yearn for your biological father at all?
I would have to say I was curious. I wanted to know about my dad. I didn't start thinking about my dad until I was around 14, 15 years old. My mother had been divorced from her second husband, who abused me for 6 years, but she divorced my dad when I was 8. My dad, let the story tell it, my dad divorced her, but I don't know who divorced who. I just know that if you read my book, if you read my book, it'll tell you at 8 years old, things went woo. You know what I'm saying? But let me try to explain this. I always had the understanding that I've heard stories about my dad, about my father, and I heard about his name, but didn't have an identity, a picture, never seen him. And God was like, "I understand you want to meet him." And he finally got me to meet him when I was 35, when my ex and I, back in Chicago, she said, "Look at the story on Facebook. A 21-year-old found her biological parents on Facebook." And I was like, okay, well, I typed in his name on Facebook and I looked at the picture. And the first picture I saw looked more like me than any other Michael Pride, because it's a very common name.
Yeah.
And I was like, that one looked more like me. Let me just check. So I sent it out. And I asked him, because my mom would be known as Chrissy. They would call her Chrissy back in the day. So I was like, "Do you know anybody by the name of Carabelle Christine Rogers?" Call her Chrissy back.
By the way.
Yeah, by the way, just thought I'd ask you. And then I got a ding on Facebook. And it was, he says, "I already know why you calling." He said, "Yep, 99." He said, "99% I could be your father."
Come on.
And I was like, wow. I sent him my number a couple days later. It was a dude that sounded young as you, as young as we. I was like, he was on the phone. He's like, "Yeah, I'm your dad." I'm like, "Dude, you sound like the same age as me. Like, stop playing with me." You know what I'm saying? But I was like, "I'm not going to trip. I'm going to find out." Man, I got to the house. I heard his voice, but saw him in the flesh and was like, whoa.
Come on, man.
I was looking at myself 30 years later, and I was 35.
Wow.
And he was just the jolliest dude. He told me the story. I found out my grandfather lied about a lot of stuff.
Wow.
And it was just like watching your twin. And they came to find out we was born on the same day. And that's a rarity for fathers and sons, to be born on the same day, generation next.
Yeah, generations apart.
And it was amazing just to learn about the bloodline. And I saw how my father, he had a voice. And he even asked me, he said, "Dude, do you got the gift?" I said, "What gift is that?" "Do you have the voice?"
The voice.
I said, "I can harmonize pretty well. I'm not tone deaf. Maybe that's where I get it from." He says, then I got into, sing rapping and with this new mulatto flow, and I started feeling my voice started to come out, and I was like, oh, well, it's hoarse now because I blew it out on Sunday, praising the Lord. But it was a wonderful understanding of who you are, and it was a completion of love.
That's what I wanted to see. Did you feel complete?
Yeah, I felt complete. I really felt complete, and I really felt like I found out stories about him through his ex-wife, his marriage, his first marriage, but after he dated my mom, after he went to the military.
Yeah.
Came to find out he was in the military. He was Tank Gunner, 13 Brigade, bang bang, 1981.
Wow.
So I was so I was like, oh, so that's why I get my little, I'm not backing down for nothing because I've got military in my blood, literally. Like, it's in my blood.
It's in there.
I felt good. I was like, oh, I started strutting like, man, now I know what's up, And, it's just the young boy in me, to actually know who my dad was, to know who my father was, to know that it was in me the whole time. It made me feel more complete. And now with that was before God, by the way. That was before Christ.
Yeah.
And now it's like today he suffered from 3 strokes. Wow. So I know his condition is MIA right now because he can't pick up the phone and call me. Because normally, ever since I met him, he would call me every birthday because we have the same birthday. Yeah. And he definitely would call me on a whim, and he was very jolly and happy to know me. Yeah. He gave grace and was grateful for my dad stepping in when he wasn't there. Yeah. He showed all respect. He wasn't ignorant. He wasn't mean. He was just jolly. Yeah. And he was a little crazy too. I heard a lot of stories about him. He was a little
military, and you got to look at his era of generation of growing up. So
the 80s,
you know what I'm saying. So when you look at all that, it's like, and you got military on top of that. Yeah, we be on one sometimes. Thank you for sharing that. I want people to. It's important because as we get into this conversation about what it is to be a male man, and that father is a role, right? And the parent is a role. Two different kind of conversations, right?
Yeah.
A lot of us men, we grew up in our different dynamics, and that father figure that we don't think we have because our biological is not there. As you shared, we do have that father figure, even if it's the next man that steps in that takes care of us, right? So I like how your story because I can relate to you and the missing pieces of when you hear men talk about their father. It's you hear it right out of their heart. Right. I love my dad, but he get on my nerve. That was me. I love my dad, but he got on my nerve.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't until I was 40 to go realize why do I talk like that about my father? Why do I say I love him, but he get on my nerve? Well, guess what? He got on my nerve because it was how I was being with him, not how he was. Right. And so when I was able to discover that for myself and heal those wounds and those fractures, man, I had my dad back for the last 8 years of his life, like he was my new dad, like for the first time because of how I treated him the first 40 years, almost 35 from the fracture. I was 5 years old for 35 years, how I treated him. So when you hear men talk and you hear women talk and we talk about mama issues and daddy issues and we dance around like it's comical, but it's real. People really
it's more real than you can even imagine, man.
Right.
And the one thing was just like I have mother issues big time.
Yeah.
I can't say that my mom is at fault. I can't say she was malicious, but I can't say because she has a genetic trait of illness.
Yeah.
I could say I could see how I went through what I went through because possibly those times were triggers and episodes, and it came to a point where my mother just now started. My heartbeat just started revitalizing for my mother just recently.
Wow.
And that's only because of the fact God touched my heart on that. And he told me, he said, you got it. You can't go with that.
You can't.
And
you can't.
I think that's how a lot of reason why I'm still single and I don't have no lady, because really I couldn't understand it. And that's when I started understanding the word more.
Yes.
And understanding where men, we lock ourselves off based to trauma.
Yes.
And that trauma and that damage put us in a loop.
Yes.
And 9 times out of 10, we was lashing out in high school. To tell you the truth, I think that's when guys really started getting into themselves in high school. Senior year,
that peer age, it's that transition from elementary to middle school. That identity crisis, bro, is like, who am I? I gotta find my place.
That was it. And either those 4 years was going to make you or break you. And I got broken. I'm not going to lie. I'll tell that truth. I got broken. And when you got that alpha in you, it's like the mother loses her grip because she's not a man. So she doesn't understand what the man is going through. We're going through peer pressure in school. We're going through swag out. We're going through jumps, knockout, drag out fights, guns in our face, whole 9 yards. We're going through a lot. And when we're getting that alpha on us because it's other brothers, you know what I'm saying, from other homes. And in my neighborhood, in my city where we came from, the projects flooded our schools, and our schools was in good neighborhoods. So they flooded our schools, and they were like, I mean, when we talk about you went to school, you dread for your life. I went to school, and I had to really keep my head on a mad swivel, because people were coming out with the thing and dropping people for no reason. And it's like, when you're in that environment, God is like the last thing on your mind. The first thing on your mind is stay alive. That's it.
Exactly.
Me, I internally combusted off of that. And looking at God now today, what he brought me into, it's making me reach out to the men. That's why I want to form this men's day, and I got the sermon, because I want to really understand the ladies' issues. I get that. I get that. I understand you got a problem with us because of the generations and generations and generations of them misunderstanding what dominion means. I get it.
Got it. Yeah.
But now today, that scorn is real, bro.
Oh, yeah.
And the Jezebel spirit is full blown, and we're being emasculated. I mean, in every sense of the form of emasculation. And that there, I say, look, 2 wrongs don't make a right. I can't agree with this. And the word teaches us where we messed up at. The word shows us how to put the head back on. But we have to come together as men and stop seeing each other as just random warriors, and we're out here goes and matching everybody. You know what I'm saying? Trying to be the last king of the hill. We got to band together like a force and really come back and really do it the right way this time.
Put it back in order. Put it back in order.
Exactly. Putting God in the foundation. So.
All right. So you came up with the title, Blood is Thicker Than Water, but the Spirit is thicker than the blood.
Yes.
Well, give me some background to that.
I got you. I'll take you to the best background I can take you to.
Let's go. Wait, give us some background. You listen straight to go ahead and find it. You listen to the Farron Dozier Show right here on the Military Broadcast Radio Network. We are live on the air right here. Arion is here sharing his experiences before Christ. We're getting into the word, and hopefully you hear something for yourself. This is not about religion or religious. We're just having a conversation about our relationship with Christ. And if you're interested, shoot us a message. Hit me up. If you want to be a guest, come in. Like I said, hit me up and be a guest. We'll get you on the deck, have some conversations. It's a variety show. We talk about everything. Military, sports, life, male, female stuff, whatever you want to talk about, bring it to the table. You're more than welcome. Shouts out to the Military Broadcast Radio Network. Make sure you see that QR code right above my head. Make sure you go there, donate to this. They provide this platform for us, veterans. Last I heard it was about 34 shows here. We're on Roku TV live right now. We're on all the streaming platforms. You can follow us. You can go there and watch TikTok everywhere, right? And then after the show's over, you can stream it on all major platforms. They provide that for us as veterans. So thank you for the Military Broadcast Radio Network for allowing me to bring my show here. I found them in 2021, and then it took me about 2 years because I had other shows on other platforms, and came back here and I brought my Trench Talk Military Show here for my military community, and I've been here since about, I think it's 2022 or 2023. I've been back here. Catch me on Tuesdays in San Bernardino County, Riverside County, KCA Radio 106.5 FM, 1050 AM. You can catch me there on Tuesdays at 6 p.m. Another type version of this show here, variety show, but we're on the AM/FM radio over there in the IE as well. So we're talking about the title of what we're going to be discussing here. I'm going to share my platform with Arion here a couple times a month. We're going to come together and bring some messages and bring some word and see how this goes, right? So we are here to deliver a message.
I'm
You
going
got
to
it?
explain. You know what? I don't have it. And this happens to me every single time I go looking
It's
for
all right.
something. That's because God knows I know the scripture. He's like,
It's all
saying,
right.
stop looking for it. You're
Right,
looking
right,
and
right. It's
doing too
all right.
much.
It's all right.
The scripture goes to show when I didn't realize it until after I looked up and read the scripture when I was reading the Bible. But I've been saying that all my life naturally because
Mm,
I was raised by my dad, and my dad
mm,
was not my blood, but
mm,
it was the relationship and the reverence in that I knew
mm.
that was my dad. When I got in trouble in grammar school, you best believe you call my dad, I'm trembling. I'm shaking knees, shaking. You call my mama, I could care less. You call my daddy, I'm shaking. You know what I'm saying? I was the one that when I'm going home from school and I got my butt whooped, my dad said, "You come home again, I got you." And I'm
Right,
like,
right,
okay, that made me hit that bully right there in the face with a rock. Like I'm not going home to see what my daddy gonna do to me. You
right,
know, the old school treatment of what we came up with. But that was
right.
spirit is thicker than blood.
Mm-hmm.
And I looked at how my life was. My blood family wasn't really on it. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? My mother's side of the family, I my book explains that, and I'm just telling my truth because they probably don't even understand that I understood at 13 and 14
Right,
and 12
right.
what you all were doing.
Come
You know, they
on,
just look
come
at
on.
me, they just look at me like, well, we don't remember it, or you as a kid, you couldn't possibly understand. No, I had a brain. I was smart for my own good.
Dance right. I want you to dance right there for me, so that men can understand that, and for fathers and mothers and parents
Yes,
to understand that we we teach this in our curriculum. You cannot discount the mind of a child. That 2 year old, that 3 year old, that 5 year old, that 14 year old, they are listening. They are listening. They're paying attention. They're mirroring what you're saying. They're downloading that information. And it's best at best to give that child information at their age level. Because if you don't, we're going to make up our own story, write our own script, and then that becomes our truth. Right. And
that's what
so I
happens.
appreciate you saying that, because that is a
Mhm.
part of what, as men, we got to go back and look at them stories. You got to go back and you
Mhm.
got to challenge those stories up against some more information. You might have to go back to your family and be like, "Hey, look, this is what happened to me. This is what I remember. Did anybody remember this?" And find
Right,
out. And find out. Like, you know what? Oh, that was a whole nother version of the story that I didn't get.
right. You know, to tell you the truth, first off, let me get the scripture, the foundation of scripture of blood, stick in the
Okay.
water, spirit, stick in
Go
the
ahead.
blood.
Go ahead.
It's in Matthew. I just gotta find it, but it's between 46 and 50. He said a servant came to Jesus and said, "Hey, your mother, your brother, and your sister at the your mother and your brother at the door." He says, "Who are my mother and my brother?" And he holds out his hands to his disciples. He said, "These are my mother, my brothers, and my sisters, for they do the will of my Father in heaven."
Mm.
That is paraphrased still, but nonetheless, that is the scripture. And I remember it. And when I read that, that let
Wow.
me know that my dad did the will of God. You know why he did the will of God? Because he took me in and I wasn't even his blood and he raised me right.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Where he
Wow.
could have been just like any other dude, smashed my mom and been on about the business. And I could have been left in the darkness watching my mom go through trials and tribulations trying to be a mother to me as a single woman.
So
But he
I
took,
found it. So you're talking about Matthew 12, 46 and 50.
thank you.
Was Jesus, where he says that, who is my mother, who is my brother, and pointed to his disciples and his spiritual family. Is that, you talking about that one?
Yes,
That's deep.
yes.
That's deep right there.
How I know the scripture, but don't know the address,
Hey,
that blows out of me. I
no,
be
no, no.
remembering.
I'm gonna tell you something. This is why you're not wrong, because in the military, those I was a supply sergeant, right, and a truck
Mhm.
driver and a track vehicle repair. We have all these manuals, TMs and FMs and DAPAMs. It's not that you have to, as long as you write the word on your heart, is you can go and find it. So the military taught us you can't. There's no way you can remember all these pages of where these parts and all this stuff is. But as long as you know where to find it, then you can go and get the answer, right?
And that part right there was what I understand a lot of people because, you know, You gotta understand, my apostles could be watching this,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
I gotta be on my point. So I'm gonna get together. Like, you need to be
I'm
more on
good.
your addresses when you're
I'm good.
preaching. You
I'm
need to be
good.
on this.
You're good. You're
But
good.
I still say that I really break tradition on all of that, because to tell you the truth, if I know what the scripture means and it's in my heart, as so you heard me recite it and paraphrase it with conviction to know I know what that means. I think that's the purpose of any book,
You
to
gotta
pick
apply
up
it to your
the
life. When you get that word and apply it,
there.
you get the word and you apply it to your life and you write that word on your heart. No one can take that away.
Take it away from it.
Take it
Exactly.
away because you've applied it and you've experienced it and you tested it and you're like, okay. And you got, for me, it was my revelation for that word for myself. Oh, then I got it. I may not know where it is
Mhm.
right off the top, but if you tell me a conversation about it, I bet you I could we can have a conversation about it. So
That part right there.
I had to not make myself wrong, because that's how I was learned in the military. You can just, as long as you know where to find it, but if it's
Right.
written in your heart, I could
Mhm.
look at a vehicle, I could look at a weapon and take it apart without the manual.
Mhm.
But
The
if
one
I
thing
gotta look for it, I can find the actual paragraphs for it.
that's what I really understand. And it's kind of like where I'm kind of at right now. Like, the traditional of religion,
Yeah.
you know, you don't know your scripture, so therefore you ain't a man. No, I'm separating that. You can take your pharisaical attitude and move it somewhere else, because in life and love, I am giving exactly what the scripture's asking for.
Yeah.
I visited my former ministry just for a second on Bible study. That's how I met Renata.
Mhm.
And I'm getting all these, these flags of, discontent. And I'm trying to figure out, where is that coming from? And I'm
Mm.
like, you're supposed to be loving, you're supposed to be a brother, you brother lovely amongst each other. But when I
Mm.
speak, it was more like I was the eyeball in the room. And I'm trying to figure out, where
Mm.
is all this coming from?
Yeah.
And then when I found out, they were saying, well, you want to express the fruits of the spirit. And I was like, my fruit's just a little different because I have a different climate. I am who I am.
Mm.
You know, it's not, my intention is still well for the Lord. My
Right.
intention is still being obedient to God when He tells me to give a word.
Right.
Regardless if it sounded like I'm making it law or I'm making it a suggestion.
Mm.
That doesn't really push forth, because I've seen many of them do it. Like, they go into the spirit and they come down as law. But I know that's not them, that's God in them.
Right.
But there's no God in me. And that's what I love about my ministry, not comparing them up against each other.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
still
No. No.
beautiful ministries.
Yes.
But that's what I love about my apostles and my auntie. Sometimes I might ramble, I might slip out, and
Right.
probably thought it was from someone somewhere else.
Right.
But majority of the time, if I'm speaking, they pick it up. And they encourage me to keep going. They encourage me to keep lift up your voice. They almost might as well sing the Black Star Spangled Banner. Lift every voice and sing. They might as well tell me that in the back of my head, because
Yeah.
that's what they encourage me to do. If God told you to do something, you do it.
Yeah.
And that part is the part that I always wanted to always convict and want to betray out to the people, that I'm not trying to tell you that I'm right. I'm not Jesus.
Right.
Never will be. But when God gives me a word, I gotta say it. I have to tell it. And that's that truth.
Yeah.
So I wanted to get that out there a little bit,
It's
but
it's,
when it
it's,
comes,
it's difficult. It's difficult because even I'm with you, because I've only been back 7 years now, but I've put my life in that word, and I've got my comprehension, I've got my revelation from my life, right? And when I asked God, well, how am I gonna deliver these messages? He's like, you're gonna talk from the word, not about the word. And
right.
so he told me to go listen to how some people talk. And I went and I started listening. I'm like, ooh, it's a different conversation when you're talking from the word, from your life, versus talking at people about the word. And so it lands different. It's a different experience. And so I'm just noticing that there are some things that's traditional. Like you said, there's a lot of religion has been weaponized so much in our world, in our society. So it's such a fine line when you're a part of our generation and you're discovering the word for yourself and sharing your word and sharing your messages, that it may not fit traditional conversation. It may not fit what they were taught, but this is our conversation. This is, so how do you deal with that when you're two generations away from me? But it's the same message. It's a message for my generation. It may not be. And then I find my mom, we end up sometimes we're saying the same thing in different words. And it's like we're saying the same thing. But your word, how she uses it and how I use it, it's the same. It's just a different word. And so it's a lot of traditional stuff that for me, I'm noticing that I have to challenge some of the tradition. For myself.
It's more the one thing about it is I'm looking with that because I'm watching it. When Jesus came about and he finally became, when he was the Messiah, he was God in the flesh.
Yeah.
Well, the one thing about it is I'm putting it now, you just gave it into perspective and it just receiving me now. During those times when he was walking, he was breaking tradition.
Yeah.
They didn't like it. He's healing on the Sabbath. Oh my God, that's law. He's a blasphemer. Exactly. He said he's the Son of God. Exactly. And there was a whole lot of that going on. Well, guess what? We're the body of Christ, are we not? Yeah. We're the body of Christ, are we not? Because he ascended. He's not at the right hand of God.
Yeah.
And now he's in us, right? So now that he's in us, that's why it's the Beatitudes in Matthew 5.
Ooh, there they go right there. There they go right there. There they go right
so
there.
And the last one, he said, blessed are you, for that you would be persecuted for my name's sake.
Yep.
The whole point is we are the image of him now. As so it was in Adam, when we are the image of Adam in the body. Now we are the image of him in spirit. So what's happening is now we're breaking tradition. Now we're cracking the old priesthood and all of that stuff beside the head saying, y'all missed some errors here. We found this out and God gave us this. And now we're telling you we're God as a body of Christ. The body of Christ, meaning every pastor, bishop, non-denominational, every minister, deacon that really put the word in their spirit, in their heart, and every disciple that follows under Jesus Christ. All you did was kill off the main vein and it opened up a whole bunch of clones of us
exactly.
and him in different forms of fashion. Wait a minute, male and female. So technically it's Genesis all over again in the spirit. For he made him, but then it says male and female, he made them. So you can't stop God no matter how much you try. No matter how you try to compartmentalize him, no matter how many times you try to weaponize him, which they have done in the past, you have failed. You can't. God is God.
Yeah.
And that's the part that I was like realizing just now while we're having this conversation. I was like, wow, it is a repeat. Wait, it's the same scenario.
Yeah.
It's just different style, but same scenario.
Same.
So we all doing the same thing. And the one thing it brings us back to understanding man's role.
Yeah.
Man's role in that. We have been so crushed by the church in itself. You know what I'm saying? We suffer in silence.
Yeah. And I appreciate you because, I shared last night on my show last night because my professional basketball team, the Inland Empire Dogs, we're taking on foster care children this year for a part of our program, right? And it I don't know what it is being a foster child. But I can use my imagination, and when I do that, I can hear people talk like they're not in a foster care system or home, but they're not even connected to their own family. I'm the black sheep of the family. I'm this, like, you hear people talk. And even the blood is thicker than water. I got my play cousin. And it's like you hear all these disconnections from your own family. And I'm like, that's the relatedness that I want people to see from the foster care child's perspective. And then how we live and suffer in silence with our own families, that we're disconnected from our own families. And then now you have children who are in this system that are also, what's the common denominator across all of us is our sense of belonging. We're just fractured in different versions.
The one thing I would love to do, I wish I could reach out to the foster families, so the foster children. And I think that's our mark. My big brother Jason Lisby, he actually wants to start, he started a program called Warrior Scholar Gentlemen. And it was to help those in juvie homes and foster care. to give them a chance at life and discipline and training and teaching them how to be gentlemen, giving them a chance before they are put in the system for them to repeat that cycle.
Right.
And I'm on board with that. I said I wanted to help train them because the one thing I could say is you might as well have considered me a foster child.
That's what I'm saying.
It's
when you look at it, the experience is not different.
It's not.
Label.
It's the thing. It's like when this is why I say spirit is thicker than blood. The reason why I say that because your influence on your mindset, you change yourself through your growth every single time, whether it's in the flesh or whether it's in Christ. The influential of Jesus Christ in the Word changes you from a man of the world to a man of God. Be ye not conformed to this world, but be transformed into the renewal of your mind. So with that in mind, the renewal of your mind your mind is always able to be renewed. So the thing about it was, I remember when I was a kid and I was 5 years old, my dad was always underneath me. My mom was still partying, chilling. She wanted to, she loved me, of course, because I was her and I came out of her. But it was more of a little brother love rather than a son love. So I didn't really get much nourishment from a woman. I got more of the tough love from my dad. But I had a best friend. I had a best friend next door. I used to always go. I loved his house. It was like I was 5 years old. He had Transformers. I'm over there. You know what I'm saying? I love being over there. I love my cousin. He's my cousin today. That's my family. But we rarely talk. But when we was kids, we was next door. Our daddy told us don't open up the door for nobody. But our doors are like literally kitty corner, and we could go inside the little stairwell right there next door neighbors, and we bring all our toys out. And we was playing. When we heard them coming, we scrambled to get back in the house and slam the doors. But it was like, I loved being over there, but it was such an influence. He had the Nintendo when I wanted a Nintendo. He had the Transformers when my mama wouldn't buy me a Transformers. She had G.I. Joes when my mama wouldn't buy me a G.I. Joe. I kept running with Masters of the Universe all my life. And it was like, I wanted all the ladies, and I could never get the ladies. But the influence of my mind, you see what I'm saying? Now, Nintendo, when I was playing that Nintendo over there, I lost everything. But I always watched the video games. Now, my mind's influenced to say that he's the most influential person in my life because that's who I'm constantly around.
Wow.
And they called a doctor to me one time because I was acting out. And they said, draw a picture of all the people that's important in your life. My best friend next door was the biggest picture on the entire page.
Wow.
Then it was my dad, and then my mother was a piece like in the corner.
Wow.
And he explained that the biggest picture is who he sees as the most influential in his life versus these other pictures are showing
that
where
peer,
his
that peer age.
Yeah, it's that peer age.
That's what you talk about when you beating on your chest. That's what you talk about when you beat. We looking for that peer age acceptance and love and connection, and it's gonna be broken. It's gonna
get broken because it happens all the time. Because as you grow, your friends grow apart from you.
Yes.
These are the things that happen in the natural life. As far as, but when you're grounded in Christ, God does it even better. That's the part I love. When He broke me from who I was to who I am now, that was like the love I could never really. My dad couldn't even give that amount of love to me, and as much as I love him, he couldn't do it. So God had to move that out the way anyway. My godfather, my apostles, my family, they can't get that love like God can, though. Now they are used by God to give me that love, but they can't give me that love like God can. When I'm in the one word and I'm at the home and I'm praying and I prayed something out of my house, that valor of victory, or to know that you just conquer the spirit that was trying to oppress you, or you knock off and you like, thank you, Dad. Man, I ain't going nowhere. Like I'm like, David, you ain't man, come here. I got something to holler at you about. Get up on with me, man. You know what I'm saying? I know my God behind me. You feel that, and that's that love, you know. And that's the passion I got right now. And that's what made me come to understand if men could see what I see right now, and I could be able to break it.
There's so much peace on that other side, man. We don't realize that.
Man, that foundation that's there, that reverence, that sovereignty.
And that's what we're looking for as men. We're looking for that peace. We're looking for that structure. But if you go to what the world has to say about that, there's so many opinions about it. What it is to be a man, what it is to be a male. Like there's so many opinions about that. But what does the word say?
Man, the word is authentic. If you look at it from the beginning, as we spoke about Adam from the last time, right? I found out there was actually not even four, there was five. I watched the five mistakes. I was reading. And when I was reading, I was like, oop, I missed that one on the last one. Let me go on ahead and add that one here. I wanted to share something.
I still got four. I still see four from myself.
You still got four? I got five. The five is right here. The fifth that we're talking about that he broke was right here at the end of chapter 2.
Oh, it's in 2?
Yeah, check it out. Hear what he said. Notice these words. And I'm going to take it to y'all so we can understand. It is written. It is written. Okay, I gotta say it is written so the enemy can hear it and can't contest it or accuse it of the brethren or none of that.
Okay, go ahead.
And Adam said, "This is now bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh.
Yeah,
she shall be called woman because she was taken out of man."
Okay.
Wow. Okay. Made an oath and declared. Because he said, he told this to God. God heard it.
See, that was
so God made it so.
That people don't realize that some of that Adam made Eve his wife.
Yes, Adam took the choice. He made the oath.
Yeah, Adam
said it right there. He said, "So therefore, man shall leave his father and his mother and be joined to his wife, and they shall become one flesh." God said, "Okay, well, since you said that, this is what's going to happen." And they were both naked, meaning they were both vulnerable with each other, man and his wife, and were not ashamed. Wait, vulnerable with your wife, not just any woman. Not just any woman.
There we go.
Your wife.
Gotta put it back in order.
And then when he sat there, it says in chapter 3, okay, Adam, you said all this. Now God tested you for it. Don't you know that every time we say a prayer or we declare something that we're ready for, God sends a test? He sends a test. Adam's test was right here. And he didn't even see it. He wasn't even there for it. Now the serpent was more cunning. Who does he use for a test? Let's go back to Job. Let's go back to Job. Exactly. Have you tested my champion, Job?
Exactly.
So that was kind of like the devil coming back. Oh, I'm running to and fro because I already did it to Adam. I did it to Cain. You know what? I'm just running to and fro to see who I can test next time. Because God, I can prove it. And then he says, "Well, have you considered my champion, Job?"
Let me test him. Let me test him.
So what happened was God sent Adam a test. That was the test. So that was 5. 4 was the negligence. And I'll tell you why it was negligence. So it says right here, and it is written, right? So when the woman, Genesis chapter 3, verse 6. So when the woman saw that the tree was good for food, that it was pleasant to the eyes, and a tree desirable to make one wise. Why was one in italics in that written sentence? Why is it in italics? So Adam, it made perfect sense. You were supposed to mold her into understanding what God told her.
We are supposed to.
Yes, you were supposed to cultivate the soil so you could plant the seed correctly. Exactly. So what happens is you weren't there to cultivate her, and she was seeking wisdom from you. But you slipped. You was human and you slipped. So what did the serpent say? This tree shall make you wise instead. Go on ahead, take a bite. You let another. Yeah, because when you didn't feel that void to protect her. You didn't feel that void to make her whole. You didn't feel that void to the oath that you declared in chapter 2. Flesh of my flesh, bone of my bone.
So what you're saying is that when we have the relationship with our wife, and we're cultivating her with the word, when she comes to us with something like, "Oh my goodness, what do we do about A, B, C, and D?" Well, let's go and see what the word has to say. Not what Us Magazine, not what Oprah Magazine has to say. Okay, you got that from Oprah Magazine. Let's bring that over here. Let me see what you're talking about. Let me see. That's it. That's what you're talking about.
But that's also because man has to know himself before he makes that kind of declaration.
That's what I'm.
Come on, man. He has to put God. He was tilling. He was being obedient to God. He was cherishing God. He respected God. He loved God. But notice the enemy never touched him. Why? Because the relationship was complete. They were whole.
Yeah.
And so it says in Matthew, it's a Mark 14, John 14, or Matthew 14. I know the scripture again, but don't know the address. But Jesus said to himself, Philip, have you been with me the whole time and you do not know? Have you not seen the Father?
Oh,
For the Father is in me and I am in the Father.
Yeah.
For the Father,
I know where you at. I know where you at.
And that's the connection that every man should have with God.
Yeah, yes.
It should have that connection. And I notice most men who are grounded with God have that centerpiece to where what happens with the woman, the wife, they gravitate to them because of their spirit.
Yeah.
It's not because you was in high school swagging, you was, I'm this. No, that wasn't what made her come to you. That's what made the girls come to you in high school. But let's break that. I'm 46 years old. All my boys back in high school, we grown. It's no time to be beating on your chest talking about what you used to be. And that goes for all factions including. You're a grown man now. Yeah. So get grounded with God because God is the reason. That's why I said seek ye the kingdom first.
Yeah.
For everything else to be added on to you. Here's the part. There's an order to God. Did anybody pay attention to his order? He goes from the inside out. Did he not go into inside the earth and form man? Did he not give you a spirit by breathing inside of you the breath of life? And then out you came out a living soul.
That's the word.
Did he not take Eve from out of you and make woman? Everything inside out. So in the spirit, he's got to work with you from the inside out. Beatitudes.
Yeah. I'm in agreement because that's after I noticed for myself, my growth is about every 5 years. I'm in a shift, and about a year and a half ago, after all the stuff that he brought me through from 2019 up until like 2025 or late 2024, 2025, he was like, now all the stuff that I done we done went through and discovered, go back to the Beatitudes. And I was like, and when I went to the Beatitudes, I was like, oh my goodness, I was poor in spirit when I came to you.
That goes back to the, what is it? Genesis 1:27.
I was poor
in spirit. Poor in spirit, right? All right, the Beatitudes lead to the fruit of the spirit, right? So the Beatitudes is the internal you, which you must be in alignment with to be in line with God. That's why I kind of connected this to this workshop that I took that we had at our ministry about worship is this way, praise is this way. Well, the Beatitudes is this way. The fruit of the spirit is this way because you're expressing it, you're giving it out.
Exactly, you're being those fruits and you're expressing it outward. Yeah, I get that.
Which connects to Genesis 1:26. Then God said us, let us make man in our image according to our likeness. Let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the birds of the air, and over the cattle, over all the earth, and over every creeper thing that creepers on the earth. But wait, my bad. Genesis 1:28. That's what I was trying to get to. Then God blessed them, and God said to them, be fruitful and multiply.
Yeah.
You have to produce before you can get the blessing.
Yeah.
Everybody wants the blessing because they say, well, I'm just going to believe. I'm going to believe is real. That's producing. I'm believing. No, it's not. That's just you declaring your faith. You still have work to do.
Gotta do the work.
So you gotta work on. Thank you. Till to the land. That's what he made man to do. He said the best way to till to the land is because he made us from the land, because that'll be the best way to know how to till it. How will we not know how to till it if we're not formed from it? It's in our body. So here the whole point is this body right here, flesh of my flesh, bone of my bone. Wait a minute. From dust you shall came, from dust you shall return. And then from the spirit of God, you shall go back to him in which you gave it, Ecclesiastes. So if we know this and we was made from that, then we should know how to till it. Meaning we should know how to do ourselves. Yes. And the thing about it is the devil twisted that. He twisted that when we was kids. He twisted that when we was in high school. He made it seem like it's from the out in. I give you all this, and this is how it's supposed to happen. He perverted the word right when you was a teenager, right when you was at the crossing point from becoming a man. But if your father was there and he was grounded with God and you was made that way, that would have never happened. When I talk about it, look. I am like, I apologize. I am so sorry if I hurt somebody's feelings. But the word is the word. It is written. And I understood that from my understanding. I had somebody, it was a situation where I heard I come on too strong.
Yeah.
Well, maybe it's because they just don't understand what a man is. A man is supposed to be strong. You know what I'm saying?
We talk about that aspect too, and I'm gonna give you this part of that as well.
Mm-hmm.
The father is the one that's supposed to be compassionate, right?
True that.
So
I'll give you that one.
So yeah, we hard in the activities of life but our experience is where we get to be that compassion, that kindness, that fruit, that we still get to be that fruit and be firm with it as well, right?
Right.
So sometimes
meekness.
Right. So that's the part that I'm as a soldier, I'm peeling off those military labels off, right? Because the people like, I'm soft spoken now because I know what it is to be loud and that kind of character. I'm not trying to be that guy no more. I'm cool. I'm being cool, but I know how to go off if I need to go off and raise my voice and all that. But when I got in the word, it was like, oh man, most people think that the wife or the mother's supposed to be the one that's compassion to the children. No, that's the father's responsibility to be compassion.
Well, it's actually both.
It gave me, but I believe he points to the man, the father, though. I think that's
he does point to the father with the meekness, but the meekness is understanding how you're going to be able to teach, how you be able to get through. But see, we also have to look at the dynamics of the gender roles.
Right.
See what I'm saying? Fathers are more compassionate to their daughters than they are to their sons, because the son has to be taught. So the roles are balanced because the mothers have to be more understanding and more patient with their sons than they have with their daughters.
Yeah.
So it's like two koi swimming in a pond, and they're both going in unison with each other. Because when it comes down to what I kind of understood when I saw this, is like a balanced home makes a person more strong to be able to be more productive in life.
Exactly.
Now, the better the balance is God being the center.
Right.
Because God gives the next. That's why there's two sets of instructions, and then there's universal structures in the word. There's instructions from the man in the word. So there's chapters and books that we're supposed to read about men that is supposed to line us up with God. And then there is for the women, there are scriptures for the ladies to be able to follow as well. Now that's something that God talks to each one in their zone about.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? But we're supposed to apply the word by both halves.
Exactly. Apply it. Exactly.
So therefore, it brings a unison between two. That's why it says we become one flesh, because God is whole. Like it says in Genesis 1:27. He says, so God made man in his image. He made him male, women, semicolon. That semicolon is very important. In the statement, but also male and female, he made them. Meaning he made spirit. That's him. He made him. But male and female, he was omnipresent, omniscient, omnipotent.
Yeah.
There was no gender until they were put inside the bodies.
Right.
The forms.
Exactly.
Man was formed first. Woman was formed here. So female spirit went inside woman. Male spirit went inside man. But when you both come together, become one flesh, you are the image of God.
Right.
As a whole.
Yeah. And it's beautiful you say that, because I'm gonna end it and wrap it up with this, is that's why honor your father and mother is so important, because it's when you're in alignment with, when the father's in alignment with God and the wife is in alignment, that child is in alignment. Now my heart, right, is connected to my parents, my father, my mother. It's how I think about them. Honor your father and mother is how I think about them. Then it says, children, obey your parents. Two different conversations.
Honor and obey. Right. I get it.
All right. So
But
honor is how I think about them, right? Because that's most important. And if you look at us as children, again, for myself, I love my father, but he got on my nerve. I love my mother, but I felt like she abandoned me. And those happened early on those fractures were early in my childhood.
the one thing I love about this scripture, this part right here, the tack on to that in the spiritual sense from Proverbs, chapter 1, verse 8. And it is written, my son, hear the instruction of your father, and do not forsake the law of your mother. For they will be a graceful ornament on your head and chains about your neck. Do you see what I'm saying? That's the cherishment of understanding how your parents are still a part of you.
Yeah.
A graceful ornament on your head, because the father said, obey the instruction. Where does your instruction come from? Your knowledge, your wisdom applied comes from your forehead. And then it says, chains about your neck. What you cherish the most? Man, my mama gave me that chain. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Chains about your neck, because right there, what's underneath your neck is your heart.
It's your heart.
And your mama's law was law. Boy, you better not take your butt outside. Oh, I understand, mama. I didn't have that.
Wasn't it?
Right. You know what I'm saying? But you felt it when she was hurt. You felt it when she was grieving. You felt it when she was crying, because it was in your heart. That's right beneath your neck. Yeah. That's where the chain, the ornament lies. Yeah. So it was to lead. Man has to lead with the instruction of their father. If you do not have a father in your life, I want every man to understand this message. Seek God. Because God is the ultimate father. He's going to fill whatever you don't have. What is absent in body is present with the Lord. What is absent inside your body is in presence with the Lord.
Yep.
So go get it from him.
I experienced that one. My guy. Like I said, I was poor in spirit. I was and I was the second beatitude. I was in mourning, and so, bro. And when I healed with my mom a few months ago, I had this last piece with my mother that I was still looking for her approval. Like, is she proud of me? And as soon as I discovered that was already there, and I didn't have to keep looking for that, I was whole. And now I don't have to look for my mother for guidance. I go straight to God for guidance now, because I've healed that last piece of being disconnected from my mother.
You know, my mother told me this just a couple of days ago on my birthday, as a matter of fact. I mean, about a month ago on my birthday.
Yeah.
It was the best gift I ever heard from her, ever. And my mother said two things. She said, I said, Mom, I never gangbanged. I never went out there. I wasn't reckless. I never sold drugs. I never did any of these things. And I really felt like you treated me like I did those things. And she said, I knew you never did. And she said, I'm proud of you. Wow. That made me tear up, because all this time I thought she hated my guts. And she told me, she said, I'm proud of you. I knew you wasn't a bad kid. Wow. Because all I was doing was just, house hopping with my guys, and we was just playing PlayStation and Street Fighter everywhere, all times of the night. But I never once got into any trouble. And then she said one more thing to me, and she told me straight up. I told her, I said, Mom, I just want to know, how could you let my stepfather do the things that he did to me? How could you sit around and watch that happen? She said, he didn't do all of those things. I said, no, Mama, he did. You didn't know what was going on in that room. She said, well, no, he just spanked you like a no. Mama, I went to bed with whips on my back, whips on my blood drawn on my whips. I said, Mom, I want to give you a prime example. Remember that hole in the wall that was in my bedroom? That was about the size of a pair of lips going sideways. That was huge. She said, I said, that was because Daniel put my back in it. At 13 years old, he took me up and put my back in the wall. And she said, no, he didn't, did he? I said, yes, he did. Wow. She said, I didn't even know all of that was going on.
Wow.
I said, I could accept that.
Right.
But she said, I apologize all of the things that has happened to you.
Wow.
And that was enough to heal every wound
Wow.
every rage in me, for every it was like the echo of my rage for every time a female has broken my heart got
Woo-wee.
silenced. Silence. Every ex-girlfriend, every encounter that did me wrong, every time I went to the point of the hill of being stone-hearted when it came to women was all silence and healed because she said those two things to me that registered. And from there, it silenced all of that. All of that pride. All of that I'll never let a woman near close to me again. I'll never do this. I won't do that.
I
But
know.
here
I
I
know.
am.
I
Here I
know.
am crying to God, say I want a wife. Well, he ain't gonna give it to me doing that.
And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for listening in. Brother, thank you for your conversation today. I pray that people have heard something for themselves, the relatedness in our conversations, man. Thank you for being open, sharing your story, your testimony, the word with us, man. We gonna figure out the schedule, how we gonna play this out, but he will be here on the Farron Dozier Show. If it's not every week, because I mean we may not do a show every week, so just depends on how we schedule it. We'll make sure that when we agree to a date, we'll publish it and you'll know that he'll be here. All right. You good with
I
that,
like
man?
it.
Anything you want to say?
You yes, I'm definitely excellent with this, man. You are so wonderful, man. God bless you. Thank you for this opportunity to be able
All
to
God's
reach out
work.
to the world.
Yeah.
But I want to be able to explain this. I do have a book.
Yes.
Um, if you know what, if you could put my number up somehow,
Yeah. Hold on one
if you
second.
want to reach out to me, because I'd rather you just call me, you know what I'm saying, and I could just PDF it to you.
Give
Or,
me 1 second. Give me 1 second.
you know, you can catch me on Facebook as Arion Rogers. You can catch me on Instagram as Samurai Shogun
All right.
Akuma.
You want to give out your cell phone number? Is that what you're saying? Is
You know
that
what? I
legit?
probably don't. I'm probably
No. Yeah.
not gonna do that. That's probably
Yeah.
a little
Yeah.
dangerous.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a little bit too much. Look, it says to have
He'll
faith.
be attached. He'll be attached into the messages, and he's attached into the post for this episode as well. So look at his Instagram. His Instagram is right there, and then we'll make sure that they get a hold of you.
There we go. Yeah, you can do it that way through Instagram.
Yeah, we'll do it like
I'm
that for right now.
I'm sending the book out. It's just for to get to know me, my testimony, understanding how God was with me, even though I wasn't raised in a church. I didn't have a foundation.
Yeah.
And for those who feel that they want to donate $5 minimum, I'm not asking for it. It's optional. But if you would like to read my story, my testimony, my first book of it anyway, it is complete, and I will send it to you if you DM me. That'll be the best way and the safest way. Thank you so much.
All right, man. Thank you for your time today, bro. Again, man, thank you. As a brother
Yes,
in
sir.
Christ, man, I want people to know that we are conscious of our conversation. The last thing that I want to do is stumble a weaker brother or sister in Christ. So whatever you heard, go do your research, go study it, get your comprehension, get your revelation, and come back to us and discover. Like he said, he found 5 things about Adam. I got 4, right? But now I could see his other perspective on that, because I remember what you're saying. When I was reading, studying Genesis, you have to separate what Adam says and what God is saying, because Adam makes his own conversation inside of that Genesis, man.
Mm-hmm.
He says
That's
a
the
lot
whole
of stuff
point.
on his own.
This is why it's called the fall of man to begin with, man. That's why it's called the fall of man. It's not really Eve's fault, even though Eve ignited the trigger.
Yeah.
It's like a grenade. You got a switch and you got a pin.
Yeah.
Well, we pulled the pin, she let go of the switch. Boom. There you go.
So we gonna
You know?
definitely have some conversations. The word will be connected, as you saw tonight, and we're gonna have some dialogues. If you got some comments, you want to leave a message, like I said, just hit us up. This is the Farron Dozier Show, man. Thank you for your time tonight, bro. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Shouts out to
Appreciate it, man.
Renata
God bless.
for connecting us. God bless. God bless. All right, this is the Farron Dozier Show on the Military Broadcast Radio Network. I gotta get out of here. It's been a full 2 days. Shouts out to NBR. That QR code up there, make sure you send a donation to that QR code. It goes directly to the Military Broadcast Radio. They provide all of these platforms, Roku TV, all of the social media platforms. They cover that stuff for us as veterans to find our voice and to share our stories and to share our voices. All right. Catch me at Farron Dozier right there. You can hit me on the Instagram, Facebook, social media, Twitter, or X, if you want to be a guest. And we'll be back. Look for the Farron Dozier Show on Instagram so you can find out what the next episodes are. I guess I could leak it for right now since we can put it out there. Next Tuesday at KCA Radio, the 14th, myself and Randy Morgan, my partner in crime over there right now, we are going to talk about peeling off the onion of life. The onion, right? You know what an onion does? I know if I don't really cook that much, but when those of you who mess with the onion, you peel that onion, your eyes start watering, and it's like you're crying, right? But you peel that onion, you chop it up, you saute it, whatever you add it to, you grill it, whatever. And what does it do to that food? That onion gives flavor to that food, right? So we're gonna peel off when you do your, as he's saying, your inner work. When you peel off those layers in your heart, and you realize that there is so much peace beneath that there's so much comfort, there's so much freedom. When you peel back those layers of your heart, what does that do to your life? It brings flavor. That's for an onion. So he and I will talk about peeling off the onions, our own lives, because we don't generalize conversations. So I'm gonna talk about my life experiences in those categories. He's gonna share from his and how we began to get to be who we are today by peeling off those layers of our life. The 2-year-old layer of disconnected from his mama. The 5-year-old layer that my dad doesn't love me. The 6-year-old layer that I said in 2nd grade that I'm never going to raise my hand again because somebody laughed at me because they said I couldn't read. The 8-year-old that my mom abandoned me. I got him listed. The 11-year-old that I was embarrassed walking down the street because my mom's car broke down and we're pushing his grocery cart down the street with my stepfather. And I'm embarrassed because I'm wondering, what are these people thinking about? Why are we pushing? Because I was taught with my grandmother and my grandfather that you don't take that grocery cart from the parking lot of the grocery store. But here my pops is pushing the grocery cart home and I'm embarrassed. I'm ashamed because I'm wondering, these people are looking at me and they're probably laughing at me because they ain't got no car. You know what that did to me at 11 about cars? That's a whole nother conversation. 14-year-old, I'm not going to be vulnerable. I have to defend myself in relationships. The 17-year-old, that first episode of $EX. I mean, 23-year-old having two daughters, right? And thinking that I'm not going to be accepted because I have 2 daughters. The 36-year-old where I collapsed in the military and almost died from this inheritance. Like God revealed all those stories that I had to go through to get to who I am today. That's what we're going to talk about. How do you peel those layers off? With the word, though. With the word, right? Now, psychology, therapy, those things help soften the hearts of us, for sure. He made everything for his good. So, cognitive behavior, I use that. Grief counseling, I use that. Personal development classes, I use that. But that was not going to give me my eternal life. But it did make me a better person. I did discover some stuff about myself. And in the transition to the word, I was able to find where he says, your truth was, in John, he says, your truth will set you free from your stories and all the stuff that you made up. But who the Son sets free is free indeed. And that's what we're talking about. That's what we're going to be talking about. It's how do you set yourself free from the word? Because the world has way too many opinions. So we're using the onion as an example of how you could cry and your eyes water. But when you saute that onion up on that steak or whatever you eat it with, don't it bring you flavor? You tell me it don't bring flavor to the food. Don't it bring flavor? All right. So catch us there on Tuesday, the 14th, July, 6 p.m. And then I'll be back again next Wednesday right here on the Military Broadcast Radio Network. Shout out to what's the count. This sickle cell trait conversation is very important. Very, very, very important. There's a lot going on with sickle cell trait. I have my voice in that, and I'm taking it on still in my conversation as my activity of life, right? That's one of my activities of life is my sickle cell trait. All right. Last PSA. I'm out of here. Shout out to what's the count. Do you remember studying sickle cell in biology class? What's the Count on Sickle Cell Trait Prevention is here to bring you awareness, education, and prevention conversations around the risk factors of this inherited gene. Visit wdconsct.org.
Hi, I'm Beaker with Military Broadcast Radio TV. We're your virtual MWR, bringing veterans radio, podcasts, gaming, animation, 3D printing, and a community that never leaves you behind. Download our Roku or mobile app today.
Wisdom to share if you listen this week, so pull up a chair and stay for a spell. We're heading down a trail where good stories dwell.